Greetings.
Aye?
What is it now? Greetings.
Hello.
Very well. I must hunt soon. Greetings. I must hunt soon. Agreed. That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. Agreed. Very well. You thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. Agreed. Greetings. Very well. What is it now? Greetings. What is it now? You thought of that? I must hunt soon. Agreed. You thought of that? What is it now? What, mortal? That was my plan. Greetings. I must hunt soon. What is it now? What, mortal? Agreed. That was my plan. You thought of that? Agreed. I must hunt soon. What is it now? Very well. That was my plan. What, mortal? I must hunt soon. What is it now? What is it now? You thought of that? Greetings. Very well. You thought of that? Very well. I must hunt soon. That was my plan. Death rages. You thought of that? Die. Very well. Agreed. Very well. That was my plan. Greetings. Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? Very well. I hunger. Thought of that? Very well. Agreed. That is my plan. You thought of that? What? Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? Very well. Agreed. Very well. Agreed. Die. Very well. Your soul is mine. Death rages. Die. That was my plan. Agreed. Thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. You thought of that? Very well. I hunger. Death rages. What is it now?
First blood.
Die. Death rages. That was my plan. You thought of that? That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. What? Agreed. That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. You thought of that? Agreed. Very well. You thought of that? That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? Very well. I hunger. Agreed. That was my plan. Agreed. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? I hunger. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? That was my plan. Agreed. Very well. You thought of that? That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. You thought of that? Very well. The night. That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? Very well. That was my plan. Agreed. You thought of that? Agreed. Die. Very well. You thought of that? Greetings. Agreed. You thought of that? Very well. That was my plan. Your soul is mine. Agreed. I hunger. That was my plan. You thought of that? That was my plan. Die. You thought of that? Very well. That was my plan. What? You thought of that? Very well. Rages. That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? That was my plan. I hunger. Death rages. Killing. That was my plan. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. You thought of that? That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. I hunger. Death rages. Very well.
Welcome to our village.
Must hunt soon. That was my plan. You thought of that? Agreed. What is it now? Greetings. You thought of that? Agreed. Very well. You thought of that? I hunger. That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. Die. That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that. Agreed. You thought of that. Dominating is mine. Agreed. Very well. Death rages. Die. Death rages. You thought of that. Agreed. Very well. You thought of that. What is it now?
Our allies' town needs help.
Double kill! You thought of that? Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? Very well. Greetings. That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. Die. Death rages. That was my plan. I hunger. Agreed. Very well. You thought of that? Very well. That was my plan. Die. You thought of that? Death rages. Agreed. Very well. Agreed.
Our allies'
Must
town
hunt
needs help.
soon. Very well. What is it now? Agreed.
Killing spree. Ownage. Killing spree.
What is it now? I hunger. That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. You thought of that? What, mortal? Death rages. Die. That was my plan. Greetings. Must hunt soon. Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. Thought of that.
Our allies' town needs help.
I hunger. That was my plan. Death rages. Agreed. Very well. Agreed. Your soul is mine. Your soul is mine. That was my plan. You thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that? That was my plan. I must hunt soon.
Mega kill.
That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? I hunger. Your soul is
Killing spree.
die. I hunger. Very well.
Hello.
Death rages. That was my plan. I hunger. Agreed. Thought of that? That was my plan. Agreed. Very well. That was my plan. I hunger.
Welcome to our
What, mortal? You thought of that? Greetings. What, mortal? What is it now? What, mortal? Agreed. Very well.
Killing spree. Unstoppable.
That was my plan. I hunger. Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. Agreed. You thought of that? What is it now?
Dominating.
Rages. I must hunt soon. That was my plan. Agreed. You thought of that? Greetings. That was my plan. You thought of that? That was my plan.
Allies town needs help.
You thought of that? You thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that? Die.
Dominating.
That was my plan. What is it now? Agreed. Very well. That was my plan. I hunger.
Allies town needs help.
You thought of that? Agreed. Very well. You thought of that? Die. Agreed. You thought of that? Very well. Greetings. What, mortal? Death rages. Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. I hunger. Death rages.
Our allies town. Our warriors have engaged.
That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. Agreed.
Our allies
That
town
was my
needs help.
plan. You thought of that? Very well. You thought of that? Very well. You thought of that? Agreed. Very well. That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? Die. I must hunt soon. I hunger. Death rages. That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. Very Greetings. Agreed. Die. That was my plan.
Our allies town needs help.
What is it now? Very well. I must hunt soon. Agreed.
Our allies town needs help.
My plan. Agreed. That. Very well. Must hunt soon.
Our allies town needs
That
help.
was my plan. I hunger. Very well. Agreed.
Unstoppable.
You're so
Wicked sick.
plan. I hunger. Death rages.
Our allies' town needs help.
I bow to your... What is it now? I must hunt soon.
Our allies' town needs help.
Greetings. That was my plan. Very well. What? That was my plan. Die. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. I must hunt soon. Agreed. You thought of that? That was my plan. I hunger. Very well.
Our warriors have engaged them.
Agreed. You thought of that? Die. That was my plan. Agreed. Very well. Death rages. What is it now? Agreed. You thought of that? You thought of that? Agreed. Very well. You thought of that? That was my plan. I hunger. Very well. Agreed. I hunger. That was my plan. Die. You thought of that? Agreed. I hunger. That was my plan. You thought of that? That was my plan. Agreed. You thought of that? Agreed. I must hunt soon. Greetings. Very well. Agreed. Your soul is mine. You thought of that?
Double kill.
Very well. I must hunt soon. That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. I hunger.
Where shall my blood
What mortal? I must hunt this now. That was my plan. Very well. Die. What mortal? Thought of that? Very well. That was my plan. Agreed. I must hunt soon. You thought of that? Very well. That was my plan. What, mortal? You thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that?
My life.
That was my plan. I must hunt soon. I hunger. Please. Very well. You thought of that? Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. Death rages. Thought of that? That was my plan. Your soul is mine.
Domination.
You thought of that? Very well. That was my plan. You thought of that? That was my plan.
Double kill.
That was my
Killing spree.
Die.
Triple kill.
You thought of that? That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that?
Wait till you see me and
Dominating wrist beat. Double kill. Triple kill.
What is it now? That was my plan. What, mortal? What is it now? Agreed. My hunger. That was my plan. Agreed. You thought of that? Agreed. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? That was my plan. Death rages. What is it now? Agreed.
Our warriors have engaged.
You thought of that? Your soul is mine. I hunger.
Guide me.
What, mortal? Agreed. Die. Death rages. I hunger. That was my plan. Very well. That was my plan. Agreed.
Mega
That
kill.
was my plan. Die. Very well. Agreed. plan.
Thy bit.
Insufficient.
My life will must come soon.
What mortal? I hunger. Your soul is mine.
Double kill.
That was my plan. Agreed. Die.
Fresh meat.
What is it?
Our warriors have
What
made
mortal? Greetings. That was my plan. Agreed. Death rages. I must hunt soon. You thought of that? What mortal?
Fresh meat.
I must hunt soon. What is it now? What mortal? That was my plan.
Killing spree. Dominant kill.
Agreed. You thought of that. Agreed. I hunger. Of that, what is it? I must hunt soon. That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? Very well. That was my plan. Greetings. You thought of that? Very well. I hunger. You thought of that? Very well. That was my plan. Very well. Die. That was my plan. You thought of that? Death rages. Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. You thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. Die. Death rages. Very well. Die. That was my plan. Agreed. Very well. You thought of that?
First blood.
Mine. Very well. That was my plan. I hunger. You thought of that? Death rages. That was my plan. Die. I hunger. You thought of that? That was my plan. Rages. I hunger. Death rages. Very well. Agreed. Die. plan. Agreed.
Soul is mine. Death rages. Die. Your soul is mine.
You thought of that? That was my plan.
More word.
What?
Must hunt soon.
That was my plan.
Rages.
Under attack.
Die.
Very well.
Death rages.
That was my plan.
Your soul is mine.
Agreed.
Die.
Thought of that?
I hunger.
That was my plan. Very well. That was my plan. Very well.
Rages.
Thought of that? What mortal? That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? That was my plan.
I hunger.
Agreed. You thought of that?
Rages. Your soul is mine.
Agreed. You thought of that? Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. Agreed. You thought of that? That was my plan. Agreed. You thought of that?
Die. I hunger.
Very
Our
well.
brethren's town is under attack.
Death rages.
Very well.
I must hunt soon.
Agreed. That was my plan.
Our brethren's town is under attack.
Thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? Agreed. You thought of that? Agreed.
I hunger.
Very well. You thought of that? That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? Agreed.
Your soul is
Killing
mine.
spree.
Die. I hunger.
Agreed.
Die. Death rages. I hunger.
That was my plan. Agreed. Very well. You thought of that? Agreed.
Die.
Very well.
Death rages. Die.
That was my plan. You thought of that? Agreed.
I hunger.
Very well. That was my plan. Very well.
Death rages. I hunger.
You thought of that? That was my plan. Very well.
Your soul is mine. Die. Rages.
That was my plan. Agreed. You thought of that? What? Very well. What is it now? You thought of that?
Die.
Very well.
Death rages.
Agreed. You thought of that? Agreed. You thought of that? Agreed. Very well. That was my plan.
Our brethren's
Agreed.
town is under attack.
That was my plan.
Die.
You thought of that? Agreed. You thought of that? That was my plan. Your soul is mine. Agreed. I hunger. Your soul is mine. You thought of that?
Mega kill.
That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. You thought of that? Die. That was my plan. You thought of that? Agreed. Very well. Agreed.
Killing spree.
I hunger. Agreed. That was my plan. I hunger. You thought of that? That... Greetings. You thought of that? Very well. You thought of that?
Dominating.
That was my plan. Very well. What, mortal? Greetings. What, mortal? That was my plan. Rages. Very well. You thought of that? Your soul is mine.
Unstoppable. Wicked sick.
Rages. Agreed. Agreed. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. Agreed. Death rages. I hunger. You thought of that? Agreed. You thought of that? Very well. Agreed. You thought... I must hunt. What is it now?
Our brethren's town is under attack.
You thought of that? Greetings. Very well. Death rages. I must hunt soon. That was my plan. I hunger. What is it now? You thought of that? Very well. That was my plan. Greetings. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? What is it now? Very well. I hunger. You thought of that? What, mortal? Very well. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that? That was my plan. Death rages. I hunger. Very well. I hunger. Must hunt soon. That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. That was my plan. Agreed. Very well. You thought of that? What, mortal? Death rages. I hunger. That was my plan. Agreed. Death rages. I hunger. Thought of that. That was my plan. Agreed. Agreed. You thought of that? Agreed. What, mortal? Very well. You thought of that? Very well. That was my plan. Agreed. Very well. You thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. You thought of that? That was my plan.
Our brethren's town is under attack.
Must hunt soon.
Our brethren's town is under
Very
attack.
well. That was my plan.
What is it now?
Our forces are under attack.
Greetings.
Are you threatening me?
Show me the path.
Greetings. What is it now? Very well. Agreed. You thought of that?
Are you threatening
Very
me?
well.
Our forces are under attack.
You thought of that? That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? What, mortal? That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. Agreed. I must hunt soon. Your soul is mine. You thought of that? That was my plan. Agreed. Greetings. What mortal?
What is it now?
You thought of that? That was my plan.
Our brethren's town is under attack.
Greetings. Agreed. That was my plan. I must hunt soon. Agreed. You thought of that? Death rages. That was my plan. You thought of that? Agreed.
Our brethren's town is under attack.
Very well.
Monster kill!
Agreed. You thought of that? Very well.
Godlike kill!
I hunger.
What?
There's no time to rest.
What is it now? Agreed. You thought of that? Your soul is mine. Death rages. Agreed. You thought of that? Agreed. I hunger. That was my plan.
Kill double kill!
That. Die. Agreed. You thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that? I hunger. Death rages. That was my plan. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. What, mortal? Agreed. You thought of that? Very
Are you threatening me? Wait till you see me in action.
Greetings. Your soul is mine. That was my plan. Agreed. You thought of that. Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. You thought of that? What? Must hunt soon. I hunger. Agreed. What, mortal? I must hunt soon. You thought of that? Agreed. Very well. Die.
Dominating.
That death rages. Hunger. That was my plan.
Are you threatening me?
You thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? Agreed. Very well. Agreed.
Our brethren's town is under attack.
That was my plan.
Unstoppable.
Very well. I must hunt soon. That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. What, mortal? Death rages. Agreed. That was my plan. Agreed. Very well. You thought of that? Very well. You thought of that? Agreed. Very well. You thought of that? Very well. I hunger. What?
How may I serve?
What is it now? Greetings. What is it now? Death rages.
Our forces are under attack.
Agreed. What is it now? That was my plan. What, mortal? You thought of that? That was my plan. What is it now? That was my plan. I hunger. That was my plan. Greetings. Agreed. Very well. I must hunt soon. Death rages. What is it now? That was my plan. I hunger. Death rages. Death rages. Thought of that. That was my plan. You thought of that? That was my plan.
Are you threatening me?
Greetings. That was my plan. is mine. I hunger. I must hunt soon. That was my plan. Thought of that.
Wicked sick.
Death rages.
Monster kill.
Is mine. Your soul is
Double
mine.
kill.
You thought of that? What for? Agree. You thought of that? Agree. You thought of that? Very well. Agree. That was my plan. Very well. That was my plan. Thought of that?
Where shall my
What is
blood
it now?
distill?
Dominating. Mega kill. Double kill.
The night beckons. Very well. Death rages. Agreed. That was my plan. You thought of that? That was my plan.
My life.
Unstoppable.
Very well. You thought of that? Greetings. Very well. You thought of that? That was my plan. Agreed. Very well. You thought of that? That was my plan. That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that? What is it now? You thought of that? What is it now? Very well. I must hunt soon. That was my plan. One more. I must hunt soon. You thought of that? What is it now? Agreed. Very well. You thought of that? I hunger. That was my plan. Die. Agreed. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. That was my plan.
Double kill.
That was my plan. I hunger.
Outrageous.
Agreed. You thought of that? I hunger.
I wish only to
That was my plan. You thought of that?
Show me the path.
What? You thought of that?
Killing spree.
That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? Very well.
death rages.
Agreed. Very well. That was my plan. What is it now? That was my plan.
Killing spree.
The soul is mine.
Dominating kill.
That was my plan.
Double kill.
I hunger.
Dominating.